ॐ श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितितीर्षतां तमोऽन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां। योगीन्द्राय नमस्तस्मै शुकाय ब्रह्मरूपिणे संसारसर्पदष्टं यो विष्णुरातमहो मुचते कालव्यालमुखग्रास त्रासनिर्नाशहेतवे श्रीमद्भागवतं शास्त्रं कलौकीरेण भाषितम् एतस्मादपरं किञ्चित् मनःशुद्ध्यैन विद्यते जन्मान्तरे भवेत् पुण्यं तदा भागवतं लभेत् ज्ञानवैराग्यसम्पूर्णान् हरिभक्तिपरायणान् पूर्वाचार्यातहं वन्दे सम्प्रदायप्रवर्तकान् भगवन्नाम साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी सर्वस्व विग्रहं श्रीमद्बोधेन्द्र योगीन्द्र देशिकेन्द्रम् उपास्महे। कलिकालोचितं धर्मं नाम संकीर्तनात्मकं निर्णेतुम् अवतीर्णं तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। हरे रामेति कृष्णेति नाम संकीर्तनं सदा लोकक्षेमाय कुर्वन्तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्तेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषिभिस्तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षः कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुक्त्यर्थं भवसागरे मनोरथो मदीयोऽयं सफलः सर्वदा त्वया निर्विघ्नेनैव कर्तव्यो दासोऽहं तव केशव। श्रीहरे नमः श्रीहरे नमः श्रीहरे नमः। गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so we'll start with the review on the third. Priya, Arun, Ninga, or 10 panango. And then Ramesh, can you do 10? Or maybe you can do 15. I was seeing if Jayashree was on, Jayashree Shankar, but she's not on. So maybe you can do half. So 32, 15, 16, 16 you can do.
परब्रह्मणे नमः। मां खेदयत्येतदजस्य जन्म विडम्बनं यद्वसुदेवगेः व्रजे च वासोरिभयातिव स्वयं पुराद्यवात्सीद्यदन्तवीर्यः पुनोति चेतस्मरतो ममैतद् या देहपादावभिविन्दय
यदाह पादावभिवन्द्य
यदाह पादावभिवन्द्य पित्रोः ताताम्बकं साधु उरुशङ्कितानां प्रसीदतं नो कृतनिष्कृतीनां को वा अमुष्याङ्घ्रिसरोजरेणुं विस्मर्तुम् ईषीद पुमान् विजिघ्रन् यो विस्फुरद्भ्रूविटपेन भूमेः भारं कृतान्तेन धिरश्चकार दृष्टा भवद्भिर्न ननु राजसूये चैदस्य कृष्णं द्विषतोऽपि सिद्धिः यां योगिनः संस्पृहयन्ति सम्यक् योगेन कस्तद्विरहं सहेत तथैव चान्ये नरलोकवीराः य आहवे कृष्णमुखारविन्दम् नेत्रैः पिबन्तो नयनाभिरामम् पार्थास्त्रभूताः पदमापुरस्य स्वयं त्वया स्वयं त्वसाम्याति क्षयस्त्रियदीशः स्वराज्यलक्ष्म्यां पत समस्तकामः बलिं हरद्भिश्चिरलोकपालैः किरीटकोट्येडितपादपीडः तत्तस्य कैङ्कर्यमलम्भृतान्नो विग्लापयत्यङ्गयदुग्रसेनं तिष्ठन्निषण्णं परमेष्टिदृष्णे न्यबोधयस्देव निधारयेति अहो बकीयं स्तनकालकूटं जिगांसया पाययत् अप्यसाध्वी लेभे गतिं तात्र्युषितां ततोऽन्यं तं बाधयालुं शरणं व्रजे मे मन्ये
ब्रजेम
सुरान्
लास्ट वर्ड ब्रजेम शरणं ब्रजेम
कम्बादयालुं शरणं व्रजेम मन्ये सुरान् भागवतांस्त्रयधीश संरम्भमार्गाभिनिविष्टचित्तान् ये संयुगे चक्षतार्क्षय पुत्रम् अंसे सुनाभायुतम् आपतन्तं
Yeah, and the Triyadishe again, other thing when you just practice that separately. And the I think you're
वसुदेवसुदेवस्य
saying
देवा
Traya, and you get Tra fulla cholrel, that is one. Second, on the second let Tarkshya, Ikshra, not Tarkshaya. Tarkshya.
ये संयुगे चक्षततार्क्ष्य पुत्रम्
Yeah, yeah.
ओके ओके वसुदेवस्य देवक्यां जातो भोजेन्द्रबन्धने चिकीर्षुर्भगवानस्याः शमजेनाभियाचितः ततो नन्दव्रजमितः पित्रा कंसाद्विबिभ्यता एकादश समास्तत्र गूढाचिः सबलो वसत परीतो वत्सपैर्वत्सान् चारयन् व्यहरद्विभुः यमुनोपवने गुजत द्विजसङ्कुलिताङ्घ्रिपे कौमारीं दर्शयंश्चेष्टां प्रेक्षणीयां व्रजौकसां हृदन्निवह सन्मुक्तबाला सिंहावलोकनः
Bala Simhava.
रुदन् इव हसन्मुक्ता बालसिंहावलोकनः स एव गोधनं लक्ष्म्या निकेतं सितगोवृषं चारयन् ननुकान् गोपान् रणद्वेनुररीरमत् प्रयुक्तान् भोजराजेन मायिनः कामरूपिणः लीलया व्यनुथतांस्तान् बालक्रीडनकानिव विपन्नान् विषपानेन निगृह्य भुजगाधिपम् उत्थाप्यापाययद् गावः तत्तोऽयं प्रकृतिस्थितम् अयाजयद्गोसवेन गोपराजं द्विजोत्तमैः वित्तस्य चोरुभारस्य चिकीर्षन् सद्ययं विभुः वर्षदीन्द्रे व्रजः कोपात् भग्नमानेति विह्वलः गोत्रलीलातपत्रेण त्रातो भद्रानुगृह्णता शशिखरैर्मृष्टं मानयन् रजनीमुखं गायन् कलपदं रेमे स्त्रीणां मण्डलमण्डनः इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां तृतीयस्कन्धे विदुरोद्धवसंवादे द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। सुब्रह्मण्य नमः।
So Rajesh, third, right? Third la vandu
1 to 14.
1 to 14. Okay. Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. उद्धवोवाच ततः सक आकात्य पुरं स्वपित्रोः शीक्ष्या संपलते वसंयुतः निभा. I think I'm losing this tone, right?
ततः आगत्य पुरं स्वपित्रोः चिकीर्षया शम्बलदेव संयुतः
निबाद्य तुङ्गात्रियुपूतनाथं हतं व्याकर्षत् व्यसमोजसोर्वयाम् सन्दीपने सकृदप्रोक्तं ब्रह्मादित्यसविस्तरं तस्मै प्रादात् वरं पुत्रं मृतं पञ्चजनोतरात्.
The first word மட்டும் சாந்தீபனே. Okay, and the word
सान्दीपने सकृदप्रोक्तं ब्रह्माद्य सविस्तरं तस्मै प्रादात् वरं पुत्रं मृतं पञ्चजनोतरात्. समाहुता भीष्मककन्यये श्रियस्वर्णो बुभूषैषां गन्धर्ववृत्त्यामिषतां स्वपाकं जघ्रे पदं मूर्ति तदत् सुपर्णः.
the second line first word மட்டும் ரமேஷ் காந்தர்வ.
Okay, okay. गंधर्व सुनेना गांधर्व.
You don't have to repeat it, but yeah.
Okay. कगुत्मदो वित्तमनशोतमित्वा स्वयंवरे नाग्नजीति मुहावः तद्भग्नमानापि कृत्यतो ज्ञान जग्ने क्षतस्त्रपृतस्वशस्त्रैः प्रियं प्रभुकरं इव प्रियाय विदशुदशतृतीयं यदार्थे व्रजयात्रवत्तं शकुनोरुषान्तः क्रीडामृगोऽनुमयं वनूनाम्.
And the first line after that comma, the first word vidhitsurarchad.
Oh.
And the word vidhitsurarchad.
Vidhitsurarchad dhrutuyam yarte, right?
Yadarte, yeah.
Okay. सुतं मृतेकं वपुषाक्रसान्तं दृष्ट्वा सुनपोन्मथितं धरिद्रया आमाद्रितस्तत्तनाय शेषं धत्वा ददन्तपुरमाविवेश.
तदन्तः, and the last तदन्तः पुरमाविवेश.
तत्वा ददन्तपुरमाविवेश तत्राहृतास्तनरदेव कन्याः कुजेन दृष्ट्वा हरिमार्तबन्धुम् उद्धाय सद्यो जगृह प्रकर्ष क्रीडानुरागप्रहितावलोकैः आशामुहूर्तकेकस्मिन् नानाकरेषु योषितां सवितं जगृहो पाणिम् अनुरूप स्वयमायया.
The second line, second word, jagrihe.
Oh, jagrihe. Savitam jagrihe panim anurupa swayamayaya. Tasva padhyanuja.
Tasva patyanya janayat.
Tasva patyanya janano atmadulyani sarvataha. एकैकस्यां तश प्रकृतोर्भि भूषया.
दश कपरम कॉमा, so just एकैकस्यां दश.
Okay, sir. Okay. एकैकस्यां दश प्रकृतोर्भि भूषया कालमाता कसाल्वादी अनीकैरुन्धभुरम् अजीकन्द स्वयं दिव्यं स्वयं स्वभुजां तेज आदिसात् संपरं द्विदितं बाणं मुरं पल्लवमेव च अन्यांश्च तन्दवक्त्रादीम् अवदीत्कांश्च खादयत् अते प्राकृतपुत्राणां पक्षयोपदितान् नृपान् अदते भ्रातृपुत्राणां पक्षयोः पतितान् नृपान् चचाल भूकुरुक्षेत्रं योषमापततां फलैः.
And the last word, yesham apatatam balaihi.
येषामापततां फलैः.
Urushada, yesham apatatam.
येषमापततां फलैः. We did up to 15, right?
14.
14. Sakarnatu sāsānau palanām kumantra pakena hatasya suyotanam sanucharam sayam bhaknorumurvayam natapasyan kiyan bhuvoyam shupitorubare yatrona bhishmarjuna bhima mulaihi अष्टादश शौहिनी को मदम सैहि आस्ते पलम दुर्विशाम यदूनाम.
The first line, third word, Kshapito
कियान बुवे
Buboyam.
Buvoyam. Kiyan buvoyam Shupitorubar. Okay.
Wait a second, guys. Sorry, 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. We'll start with 15. So let me just go ahead. Gomati Atta, you can be a student, and Madhu, you can be a student. I think you had to leave early, right? So, yeah. Stanza 15. Mitho Yedaisham Bhavita Vivado, comma. Madvamadatamra, cannot break that word. Madvamadatamra Bilochananam Naisham Vadhopaya Yanatonyo, comma. Mayudhyatentar Dhadate Swayam Sma. So we were kind of seeing the, the Krishna's stories that Uddhava is telling, recollecting all of these things, right? So in the previous one, he has spoken about the Kurukshetra battle and how, all of those people who were, been affected with Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and all of those tips. But he says, more than that, there is my own Yadu dynasty. And we're going to see a little bit of this in the 4th chapter today. But essentially here is a quick summary that Uddhava is telling here that, eventually they'll all kind of fight amongst themselves. They will all get intoxicated and fight amongst themselves. And Krishna, this is Krishna telling Uddhava, and eventually when I leave, at this time, they will also disappear because they will also all fight amongst themselves. We'll see that in 4th later today. Mito yadaisham bhavita vivado madva madatam ravilochananam naisham vadhopaya iyanatonyo mayudhyatentar dhadate swayam sma. Gomati, I think you mute. Can you chant today? Okay, Narani, you can be a student.
Okay.
If one comes back.
Mito yadaisham bhavita vivado madva madam datam ravilochananam naisham vadhopaya iyanatonyo mayudhyatentar datate swayam sma. 2 times, huh?
2 times, yeah.
Mito yadaisham bhavita vivado madva madatam ravilochananam naisham vadhopaya iyanatonyo mayudhyatentar datate swayam sma.
Mido yataisham pavito vivado madva madatam ravilochananam naisham vadobhaya iyanadonyo mayudhyadetra tadate swayam sma. Mido yataisham pavito vivado
Bhavita
विवादो
vivad.
भविता विवादो मध्वा मदानां रविलोचनानां नैषां वदोबाय यानदोन्यो मय्युत तदते स्वयं स्म
एवं संचिन्त्य भगवान् स्वराज्ये स्थाप्य धर्मजं नन्दयामास सुहृदः sadhunam vartma darshayan. So with that he established Yudhishthira, because the Kurukshetra war was over and then Yudhishthira now comes. So he's just again talking about all the things that Krishna did. We already saw this early. He establishes Yudhishthira and then Yudhishthira doesn't want to govern and all of that stuff. एवं संचिन्त्य भगवान् स्वराज्ये स्थाप्य धर्मजं नन्दयामास सुहृदः साधूनां वर्त्म दर्शयन्.
एवं संचिन्त्य भगवान् स्वराज्ये स्थाप्य धर्मजं नन्दयामास सुहृदः साधूनां वर्त्म दर्शयन्. एवं संचिन्त्य भगवान् स्वराज्ये स्थाप्य धर्मजं नन्दयामास सुहृदः साधूनां वर्त्म दर्शयन्.
एवं संचिन्त्य भगवान् स्वराज्ये स्थाप्य धर्मजं नन्दयामास सुहृदः साधूनां वर्त्म दर्शयन्. एवं संचिन्त्य भगवान् स्वराज्ये स्थाप्य धर्मजं नन्दयामास सुहृदः साधूनां वर्त्म दर्शयन्.
उत्तरायां धृतः पूरोः, put a visarga comma there. Next word on top of the vamsha, there is a ir that will go away. Vamshasadvabhimanyuna. So Vamshasadvabhimanyuna. Remember the word abhimanyuna, that is the second half of that word. Savai draunyastra sanchinnaha, comma, punar bhagavata dhritaha. So this is pretty clear. So even after that, he says, when the embryo of Uttara is being hit by the son of Draunyastra, the son of Drona, at the time you go and protect Parikshit. So that is just summarizing that. Uttarayam dhritah puroho vamshasadvabhimanyuna savai Draunyastra sanchinnaha punar bhagavata dhritaha.
उत्तरायां धृतः पूरोः वंशसाद्वभिमन्युना स वै द्रौण्यस्त्रसञ्चिन्नः पुनर्भगवता धृतः. उत्तरायां धृतः पूरोः वंशसाद्वभिमन्युना स वै द्रौण्यस्त्रसञ्चिन्नः पुनर्भगवता धृतः.
उद्धरायं त्रिदः पूरोः वंशसात्वभिमन्युना स वै द्रौण्यस्त्रसञ्जिन्नः पुनर्भगवतो धृतः. पुनर्भगवदाधृतः. उद्धरायां त्रिदः पूरोः वंशसात्वभिमन्युना स वै द्रौण्यस्त्रसञ्जिन्नः पुनर्भगवदाधृतः.
Ayajayat dharma sutam, break at that ma, comma, sutam. Next word start with the a. Ashvamedais tribhir vibhuhu sopi kshmamanujai rakshan, comma, reme krishnam anuvratah. So after that, then once Yudhishthira takes up the throne, then Krishna, you help him conduct 3 Ashwamedha Yajna, right? And along with his brothers, and that way he was able to rule properly. Ayajayadharmasutam ashvamedhaistribhirvibhuh sopikshmamanujai reme krishnamanuvrataha.
अयाजयद्धर्मसुतम् अश्वमेधैस्त्रिभिर्विबुः सोऽपिष्मा मनुजैरक्षन् रेमे कृष्णम् अनुव्रतः. अयाजयद्धर्मसुतम् अश्वमेधैस्त्रिभिर्विबुः सोऽभिक्ष्मा मनुजैरक्षन् रेमे कृष्णम् अनुव्रतः.
अयाजयद्धर्मसुतम् अश्वमेधैस्त्रिभिर्विबुः सोऽभिक्ष्मामनुजैरक्षन् रेमे कृष्णम् अनुव्रतः. अयाजयद्धर्मसुदम् अश्वमेधैस्त्रिभिर्विभुः सोऽभीक्ष्माम् अनुजैरक्षन् रेमे कृष्णम् अनुव्रतः
भगवानपि विश्वात्मा लोक वेद पतानुगः कामान् सिषेवे द्वार्वत्यां next word starts with the asaktas sankhyamasthitah. So he says eventually once Yudhishthira was established and all that, Krishna went back to Dwaraka, right? So so after that point, then Krishna then lived there according to the whatever rules are said in the Vedas. He was kind of following those things, and he was also following the Sankhya philosophy, which is kind of not getting attached to material things, all of that stuff. Krishna was leading a life there. Bhagavan api vishwatma loka veda pathanugah kaman sisheve dvarvatyam asakta sankhyamasthitah.
भगवानपि विश्वात्मा लोकवेदपतानुगः कामान् सिषवे द्वार्वत्याम् असक्तः सांख्यमास्थितः
Second word, sisheve.
सिषेवे ओके भगवानपि विश्वात्मा लोकवेदपतानुगः कामान् सिषवे द्वार्वत्याम् असक्तः सांख्यमास्थितः
You are saying sishave.
Oh, Sisheve. Okay, thank you.
भगवानपि विश्वात्मा लोकवेदपदानुगः कामान् शिशवे द्वार्वत्याम् असक्तः सांख्यमास्थितः भगवानपि विश्वात्मा लोकवेदपदानुगः कामान् शिशवे द्वार्वत्याम् असक्तः सांख्यमास्थितः.
You're also saying sishave and the word is
शिशेवे वा?
sishave, yeah.
Okay, शिशेवे, okay.
Snigdha smitava lokena, vacha piyusha kalpaya charitrenanavadyena, Sri Niketena Chatmana. So Krishna is just gentle. Krishna is living there. He doesn't have a material body, so he has a spiritual body only there. Along with Sri Niketena, along with the goddess of fortune, which is Mahalakshmi or Rukmini, he was there always being gentle and with a smiling face. He was just spending his time in Dwaraka. Snigdasmitavalokeena vacha piyusha kalpaya charitrenanavadyena Sriniketena Chatmana.
स्निग्धस्मितावलोकेन वाचा पीयूषकल्पया चरित्रेणानवद्येन श्रीनिकेतेन चात्मना स्निग्धस्मितावलोकेन वाचा पीयूषकल्पया चरित्रेणानवद्येन श्रीनिकेतेन चात्मना
स्निग्धस्मितावलोकेन वाचा पीयूषकल्पया चरित्रेणानवद्येन श्रीनिकेतेन सात्मना स्निग्धस्मितावलोकेन वाचा पीयूषकल्पया चरित्रेणानवद्येन श्रीनिकेतेन चात्मना.
And the Madhu, the Piyusha is a long U, okay? Piyusha.
Okay.
Imam lokamamum chaiva, ramayan sutaram yadun, reme kshanadaya datta, put a plus, kshana stri kshana sauhridaha. So just continuing saying that, while he used to take care of multiple roads during the daytime, like he had to take care of all the Yadavas and, all of that stuff on one end. And then the night, remember, like he had 16,008. Today, I think yesterday's class, I was talking about how in each house he was also there, right? When Narada visits. So similarly, he has to take care of all of that. So he was kind of running through properly. He's just gently talking about Krishna's time in Dwaraka, nothing special in this, but saying how he spends his time. स्निग्धस्मितावलोकेन वाचा पीयूषकल्पया इमं लोकममुं चैव रमयन् सुतरां यदून् रेमे क्षणदया दत्त क्षणस्त्रीक्षणसौहृदः
इमं लोकममुं चैव रमयन् सुतरां यदून् रेमे क्षणदया दत्त क्षणस्त्रीक्षणसौहृदः इमं लोकममुं चैव रमयन् सुतरां यदून् रेमे क्षणदया दत्त क्षणस्त्रीक्षणसौहृदः
इमं लोकम् अमुं चैव रमयन् सुधरां यदून् रेमे क्षणदया दत्त क्षणस्त्री क्षणसौहृदः इमं लोकम् अमुं चैव रमयन् सुधरां यदून् रेमे क्षणदया दत्त क्षणस्त्री क्षणसौहृदः
तस्यैवं रममाणस्य संवत्सर गणान् बहून् गृहमेधेषु योगेषु विरागः समजायत तस्यैवं रममाणस्य संवत्सरगणान् बहून् गृहमेधेषु योगेषु विरागः समजायत
तस्यैवं रममाणस्य संवत्सरगणान् बहून् गृहमेधेषु योगेषु विरागः समजायत तस्यैवं रममाणस्य संवत्सरगणान् बहून् गृहमेधेषु योगेषु विरागः समजायत
तस्यैवं रममाणस्य संवत्सरगणान् बहून् गृहमेधेषु योगेषु विरागः समजायत तस्यैवं रममाणस्य संवत्सरगणान् बहून् गृहमेधेषु योगेषु विरागः समजायत
दैवाधीनेषु कामेषु दैवाधीनः स्वयं पुमान् को विस्रम्भेत योगेन योगेश्वरम् अनुव्रतः. So he's saying that, we all experience different things through the various sense organs we have. Each of the sense organs has a deity who controls those sense organs, right? So we don't even control our sense organs. We're just using them like a tool. So even those deities who are the sense organs, Krishna is beyond all of them. So he says, how Krishna spends his time with the various activities you do, we cannot comprehend it. We cannot put our material lens to comprehend what he's doing, because what he's doing is not materialistic, it is just spiritual. So you cannot put a material lens to say, oh, he's spending time with his wives or he's doing these things. You cannot say such things. That's what Uddhava is telling. दैवाधीनेषु कामेषु दैवाधीनः स्वयं पुमान् को विस्रम्भेत योगेन योगेश्वरमनुव्रतः
दैवादीनेषु कामेषु दैवादीनः स्वयं पुमान् को विस्रम्भेत योगेन योगेश्वरमनुव्रतः दैवादीनेषु कामेषु दैवादीनः स्वयं पुमान् को विस्रम्भेत योगेन योगेश्वरमनुव्रतः
दैवादीनेषु कामेषु दैवादीनः स्वयं पुमान् को विस्रम्भेत योगेन योगेश्वरम् अनुव्रतः दैवादीनेषु कामेषु दैवादीनः स्वयं पुमान् को विस्रम्भेत योगेन योगेश्वरम् अनुव्रतः
पुर्यां कदाचित् क्रीडद्भिः visarga comma there. Next on the ya there is a ir that will go away. Yadu bhoja kumarakaihi kopita munaya shepuhu visarga comma. On top of the bha there is a ir that will go away. Bhagavan mata kovidaha. I won't tell too much of the story of this stanza because this is going to come in the 11th skandam. So we'll see that story when that comes in the 11th skandam. But at one point it says the Bhoja, which is Kamsa, the dynasty from there, which is Devaki's dynasty, and then Vasudeva's dynasty, which is the Yadava dynasty. They were all living together in Dwaraka, right? The kids of the dynasty, including Krishna's son and everybody, they go try to trick some rishis one day. So, but at that time, the rishis give them a curse. So he is saying that rishis give them a curse, and that begins the beginning of the destruction of the Yadava dynasty. This will come in 11.1. The entire story is going to come. Puryam kadachit kridadbihi yadu bhoja kumarakaihi kopita munaya shepuhu bhagavan matako vidaha.
Puryam kadachit क्रीडद्भिः यदुभोजकुमारकैः कोपिता मुनयः शेपुः भगवन्मतकोविताः.
One time போறோம். Sorry.
पुर्यां कदाचित् क्रीडद्भिः यदुभोजकुमारगैः गोपिता मुनयः शेबुः भगवन्मदगोपिताः.
Rajesh,
Sorry, go ahead.
second line Gopita Munaya Sebuhir irke.
And the iruk badala you put the visarga and then the ir will go away.
Okay, then split Bhagavan Mata Kopita.
Mata Kovidah. Yeah. Tatah Katipayair Masaihi. Again, visarga comma. On top of that vr, there will be a ir that will go away. Vrishni Bhojandakadayah Yayuh Prabhasam Samhrishtaha. Add a visarga because we're going to pause there. Samhrishtaha, comma. Ratair Deva Vimohitaha. I'll say the meaning of the last four together at the end. Tatah Katipayhair Masaihi Vrishni Bhojandakadayah Yayuh Prabhasam Samhrishtaha Ratair Deva Vimohitaha.
अतः कतिपयैर्मासैः वृष्णिभोजान्दकादयः ययुः प्रभासं संहृष्टाः रतैर्देव विमोहिताः.
ततः कतिपयैर्मासैः वृष्णिभोजान्तकादयः ययुः प्रभासं संहृष्टाः रथैर्देव विमोहिताः.
Tatra Snatva Pitrun Devan. So the nr that is there, we're going to break it. Devan in, comma. Rishims, next word will start with the r. Rishims Chaiva Tadambhasa. Tarpayitvata Viprebhyo, comma. Gavo Bahu Guna Daduhu. Tatra Snatva Pitrun Devan. Rishims Chaiva Tadambhasa. Tarpayitvata Viprebhyo. Gavo Bahu Guna Daduhu.
तत्र स्नात्वा पितॄन् देवान् ऋषींश्चैव तदम्बसा तर्पयित्वा त विप्रेभ्यो गावो बहुगुणा ददुः.
तत्र स्नात्वा पितॄन् देवान् ऋषींश्चैव तदम्बसा तर्पयित्वा विप्रेभ्यो गावो बहुगुणा ददुः.
Hiranyam Rajatam Shayyam, comma. Vasam Siyajina, one word. Vasam Siyajina Kambalan. Yanam Rathanibhan Kanya, comma. Dharam Vritti Karimapi. Hiranyam Rajatam Shayyam. Vasam Siyajina Kambalan. Yanam Rathanibhan Kanya. Dharam Vritti Karimapi.
हिरण्यं रजतं शय्यां वासांस्य जिनकम्बलान् यानं रथानिबान् कन्या धरां वृत्तिकरीमपि.
हिरण्यरजतं शय्यां वासांस्जिनकम्बलान् यानं रथान् इबान् कन्या धरां वृत्तिकरीमपि.
Madhu, on the first word Hiranyam, there is a im there, okay?
Okay, Hiranyam Rajatam. Okay.
Annam Choru Rasam Tebhyo, comma, Dattva Bhagavat Arpanam, Go Viprartasavash, Viprartasavash Shuraha, comma, Pranemur Bhuvi Murdhabihi. Annam Choru Rasam Tebhyo, Dattva Bhagavat Arpanam, Go Viprartasavash Shuraha, Pranemur Bhuvi Murdhabihi.
अन्नं चोरुरसं देभ्यो दत्वा भगवदर्पणं गोविप्रार्तासव शूराः प्रेणमुर्भुवि मूर्धभिः. प्रणेमुर्भुवि मूर्धभिः.
And the first word, and unfortunately you cannot break that word too much. It's go is one word, okay. And then the rest of the word you have to say it together. Go viprartasavash shuraha.
Okay.
You want to just say it once, Nalini, in the word?
அந்த முதல்ல இருந்து சொல்றேன். அன்னம் சோரு ரசம் தேப்யோ தத்வா பகவதர்ப்பணம் கோவிப்ரார்தா சவச்சூராக பிரேணமுர் புவி மூர்த்தபிஹி
Pranimur.
பிரணேமுர் புவி மூர்த்தபிஹி. சாரி.
अन्नं चोरुरसं देभ्यो दत्वा भगवत् अर्पणं गोविप्रार्ता शवशूराः प्रेणमुर्भुवि मूर्तभिः
Same. Pranimur.
प्रणेमुर्विमूर्तभिः.
You guys have the same book? Like.
இல்ல சேமா
இல்ல, அதுக்கு அது கண்ணு ஒண்ணு பாக்குறது, வாய் ஒண்ணு
வாய் ஒண்ணு
சொல்றது.
சொல்லுது. கரெக்ட்.
Okay, so I'll just kind of quickly say these 4 stanzas and then I'll tell the meaning of the 4th chapter, right? So, see, this is now up to this point, we also saw in a lot of places, right? Like, in Aranam also we saw Kuchelopakhyanam happens after this, then Santana Gopalopakhyanam, all of that happens. But Aranam stops there, right? It doesn't go beyond there, right? So here, these things are now continuing what is happening after that point, right? So he says, so it's this curse is happening, right? So the sages curse these boys of Vrishni and Boja, saying, your entire dynasty is also going to get destroyed. Few months pass, right? So then some of these descendants, right? So whenever Krishna incarnates, there are 2 sets of people who incarnated with Krishna, who took birth. There are some who are permanent devotees, right? So they are like, and some there are demigods, because if you remember, even when there's all these gods go and approach Brahma, and Krishna says, yeah, I'm going to take birth. Some of you are going to also take birth with me, along with their patni, right? All of them become the Gopikas and the other Vrajvasis, right? So there are 2. There are some devotees who are permanent devotees of Krishna, who just come with Krishna all the time. No matter which incarnation happens, they come with him. So 2 kinds of devotees. What happens is, and I don't know why, but the permanent devotees stay back in Dwaraka. Okay. The non-permanent devotees, who are the other demigods, everybody who have taken birth, right? They go along with Krishna to this Prabhasa Kshetram. That's where that word Prabhasa Kshetram came before, when Vidura was roaming. He also comes to that point at one point. Anyway, so they all go to that Prabhasa Kshetram. So they go there. And there, they come there, and it's like a pilgrimage spot, right? So there are a lot of the sages are there, and then they offer the final rites to the Pitras, to the demigods, and all the sages, all the Brahmanas who are there. They do all of these offerings and everything, and they give a lot of stuff. They talk about what all they give. They give hiranyam, they give gold, they give bedding, they give clothing and blankets and horses and elephants, and whatever they want to give the Brahmins and the sages, they give all of them. And then they come and take the final blessings from the Brahmanas, because both of them are going to go, right? Both the people who are here and the people who are in Dwaraka are all going to leave right now, right? But some of these people, they had to finally do some karma. So they ended up going with Krishna to this particular point in Prabhasa Kshetra and doing some final rites to the Brahmins and the sages and everything. So that's where this chapter ends, right? So I'll start the 4th. I'll kind of give through a little bit of the meaning of the 4th, right? So all of that happens. So these people who come with Krishna to the Prabhasa Kshetram, once they feed all the Brahmanas and everything, then what happens is they start drinking a liquor which is made of rice, right? So they consume liquor. This is the funny part, is once Kashyap came and told me that he was some class, I forget which one. He came and said, oh, you know what? My teacher told me that in Hinduism, all these gods are all drinking liquor all the time. Krishna was drinking liquor. I said, hold on, what? Then I remembered probably the teacher was talking about this. So I told him, okay, it's a different context there, but doesn't matter. Anyway, so all these people, they end up consuming liquor. These people who come to this Prabhasa Kshetram, this Yadavas, right? They all start drinking liquor. And what happens when they consume liquor is they start losing themselves, right? Mentally, they start losing themselves. They start saying bad things about each other. It always starts with somebody saying something bad about another person, right? So it becomes 2 groups. They all start saying bad things about each other. And then what happens is they start fighting with each other. So at this time, Krishna knows what's going to happen. And at some point, he'll say, Krishna, you already know what's going to happen. Anyway, Krishna sees that, okay, time has come for everything to happen right now. So Krishna then leaves them at that point. When they're fighting, Krishna leaves them, and then he goes to the banks of the river Saraswati, and then he sits underneath a tree, right? Because at the end of the day, Krishna wants to make sure this entire dynasty is essentially gone. Okay, that's what is happening, right? And it is planned, because he doesn't want to leave any trace, right, of Krishna being there. This way, Dwaraka also got eliminated completely. Everybody in Krishna's son, grandsons, Yadavas, everybody got wiped out, right? So he knew what was going to happen. So he leaves them. And then, because they are at the one of the day, they all have to go back because they all are just incarnating along with Krishna. So it's no big deal, right? So then what Krishna does is he goes to this banks of Saraswati and then he sits. Now, but at that time, Uddhava is also there, right? Uddhava is there with Krishna because Uddhava is always with Krishna. So Krishna then tells Uddhava, that I think it's time that you go to Badarikashrama. He says, Uddhava, you have been, and the Uddhava Gita and all of that is a little bit, I think, done already by that point, I think. And Krishna tells Uddhava that, you are like very close family to me, right? So he says, I recommend that you go to Badarikashrama because Nara Narayana are there and I want you to just go and do penance and meditation and then do this, right? So he says, Krishna also tells, don't go to Dwaraka also because that destruction is going to happen. Now, in spite of Uddhava, right, knowing that this is bad things are going to happen there and bad things are going to happen in Dwaraka, Uddhava says to Vidura, I still didn't feel like, leaving Krishna, right? Because he says, although what was happening, he says, I still did not feel like leaving Krishna because Krishna is telling Uddhava at this point, he said, you are such a close friend of mine, Uddhava, that you are actually going to get liberated, right? You are going to come and meet me in Vaikuntha. That is guaranteed for Uddhava. Krishna says, you don't have to worry about anything. But still Uddhava says, no, even though that is there, he says, I don't want to leave Krishna. I don't feel like leaving the side of Krishna. So he follows Krishna at that point, right? So then he follows, and that's when he sees, one day when he's following Krishna, he sees that Krishna is sitting alone. He's deeply thinking, taking shelter on the banks of Saraswati. He's sitting there, and like he says, the one whom everybody takes shelter is now taking shelter. Now there, Uddhava sees Krishna in the stanza 7. Beautifully, it says, where is stanza 7? Yeah. Shyama vadhatam virajam prashantaruna lochanam dhorbis chaturbir viditam pita kaushambarenacha. So Shyama vadhatam means one who is beautifully black in color, who's full sattva guna, who's prasanna vadanam, who's got a very peaceful face, and aruna lochanam, one who's got a reddish eyes. Chaturbihi, he had 4 arms at that time, and he was wearing pita kausha, he was wearing the yellow garment. So Uddhava sees somebody sitting under a tree, like an ordinary person. But Uddhava, the moment he looked at it, he knew it is Krishna, right? He says, I could immediately recognize because it was Krishna and he was sitting against it. So now Uddhava goes there, right? So when Uddhava is sitting there and Uddhava reaches there, at that time, having gone through multiple of these places, a great saint called Maitreya comes there. So Maitreya is a great, is a well-wisher of Vyasa. So Maitreya is like, Dvaipayana Vyasa, they're all very good friends, right? So he also learned from Vyasa's father. Maitreya also has learned. So it's the kind of the same hierarchy as Vyasa, although Vyasa is definitely a little bit more advanced, right? So he was one of Parashara's disciple as well. So Vyasa and Maitreya are good friends. So Maitreya happens to be there. But he says to Vidura, Uddhava says, it's definitely not by accident. How can at the last moment of Krishna being there, Maitreya ends up coming there accidentally? It's because Krishna wanted Maitreya to be there, right? So they both are there right now. So Maitreya Muni comes there. And then, so Uddhava and Maitreya are now sitting next to Krishna. So at that time, that's when actually Krishna tells Uddhava, he tells Uddhava at that point that you are one of those 8 Vasus. There is 8 Vasus who are there, who are like demigods, right? And they actually performed a lot of sacrifices and everything, right? And each of them wanted something big. But there was one Vasu, which is this Uddhava, who says, you did not want anything, Uddhava, at that time. When I asked you what you want, you only wanted association with me. Right? So that's why when the other Vasus got promoted and ended up being other things, Uddhava then ended up coming with Krishna, along with Krishna, and incarnating as Uddhava in this particular Janmam, right? So he says, this is your last life. I think in at 12 or something, he says, this is your last life, Uddhava. You are getting liberated, right? And after this, you're going to directly come to Vaikuntha, but I still want you to remain in earth for some more time because there are other things that you need to do, right? With that, Krishna tells Uddhava, right? So then when he's there, then at that time, Krishna then tells Uddhava and Maitreya, long time back at the beginning of the first millennium, right? Which means at the beginning of the first day of Brahma, the first kalpa of Brahma, that Brahma who came out of my Nabhi, he wanted to hear some important things. So at that time, I told him this Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what Krishna is telling Maitreya and Uddhava. I told that Brahma about this Bhagavatam, because of which Brahma actually got all his answers. He got all his answers, and then he also became much more pious. So at that time, when Uddhava actually hears this, he says, I could not control myself, Vidura, because even though Krishna had told me I'm going to get liberated, I didn't need to hear this. Anything else, because you already have the ticket, right? You don't need to do anything else to get the ticket, right? But he says, no, having spent so much time with Krishna, I wanted something more than what even liberation can offer, which is I want to spend more time with Krishna, and I wanted to hear that from Krishna's mouth. So Uddhava says, so I went and asked Krishna, I want to hear that Chatushloki Bhagavatam or whatever you told Brahma. I also want to hear that from you, right? Not because I want dharma, artha, kama, moksham. I don't even want that liberation. I just want to be constantly talking to Krishna. I want to be next to Krishna, because Uddhava is worried. The moment Krishna says, okay, you go, he knows Krishna is probably going to depart, right? So he wants to spend that extra 10 minutes or whatever minutes with Krishna. So yes, I also want to hear that, right? So that comes around 14, 15. So we'll stop there. Okay, so let me see what the time is.
Rajesh ji, so Dwaraka was taken by water, right? But isn't there a place called Dwaraka now?
No, that Dwaraka is gone, right? That Dwaraka is underwater. So what they have done now is they have created something similar like that on the banks of in Gujarat, on the banks, made Dwaraka or something. Forget the name, some name like that, Bade Dwaraka or something. So you can go there. It was just a replica or a little bit replica of it. The actual Dwaraka was underwater. It went underwater because it was in the middle of the ocean.
Okay.
So that got completely wiped out, right? That is all underwater. But they created a smaller version of it on the banks of it so people can go visit.
Dakur is what it's called. I've been there.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So some doctor, some other Dwaraka they call it, which is a replica of a Dwaraka, not the real Dwaraka.
Okay.
That's where Modi ji went and did the tapas. He was just doing the meditation. He went under.
Correct.
Dwaraka,
Yep.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see who I had today. Sorry. Priya Shikma, okay, Priya Shikma, you can be, and Shanti, you can be. Okay, we'll start from first. Uddhava uvacha atathe tad anugyata, bhuktva pitva cha varunim taya vibhramshita jnanaha. We're going to add a visarga there because you're pausing, duruktair marma pas prishuhu. Uddhava uvacha atate tadanugyata bhuktva pitva cha varunim taya vibhramshita jnanaha duruktair marma pasprishuhu.
Uddhava uvacha atate tadanugyata bhuktva pitva cha varunim taya vibhramshita jnanaha duruktair marma pasprishuhu. Uddhava uvacha atate tadanugyata bhuktva pitva cha varunim taya vibhramshita jnanaha duruktair marma pasprishuhu.
Uddhava uvacha atate tadanugyata bhuktva pitva cha varunim daya vipramchita jnanaha duruktair marma pasprishuhu. Uddhava uvacha adate tadanugyata bhuktva pitva cha varunim daya vipramchita jnanaha duruktair marma pasprishuhu.
Tesham maireya doshena, vishamīkrita chetasam nimlochati ravavasit. So the dve that is there, we're going to break it. Put the it first, ravavasit. Next, venunamiva mardanam. Next word will start with the ve. Venunamiva mardanam. Tesham maireya doshena vishamīkrita chetasam निम्लोचति रवावासीत् वेणूनामिव मर्दनम्
तेषां मैरेयदोषेण विषमीकृतचेतसां निम्लोचतिरवासीद वेणूनामिव मर्दनम् तेषां मैरेयदोषेण विषमीकृतचेतसां निम्लोचतिरवासीद वेणूनामिव मर्दनम्
तेषां मैरेयदोषेण विषमीकृतचेतसां निम्लोचतिरवावासीत् वेणुनामिव मर्दनम् तेषां मैरेयदोषेण विषमीकृतचेतसां निम्लोचतिरवावासीत् वेणुनामिव मर्दनम्.
And the nu is a long venunam.
वेणूनामिव मर्दनम्.
Bhagavan Swatma Mayayaha. You can add a visarga. I think, like I said before, people who join new, sometimes when you pause in between, we end up adding that visarga. If you're not pausing at that point, you don't have to add the visarga. Like that, you can say Bhagavan Swatma Mayaya Gatim Tvam Avalokya Saha. You don't have to add it, but because we are stopping in the middle of some lines, we'll add a visarga there. So Mayayaha, comma, Gatim Tam Avalokya Saha. Saraswatim upasprisya, vriksha moolam upavishat. Bhagavan swatma mayayaha gatim tam avalokya saha saraswatim upasprisya vriksha moolam upavishat.
भगवान् स्वात्ममाययाः गतिं त्वामवलोक्य सः सरस्वतीमुपस्पृश्य वृक्षमूलमुपाविशत भगवान् स्वात्ममाययाः गतिं त्वामवलोक्य सः सरस्वतीमुपस्पृश्य वृक्षमूलमुपाविशत.
Rajesh, I don't know if you said it, but is it Mayaya or Mayaya?
Mayayaha.
Okay, thank you.
அதே மாதிரி ராஜேஷ் தாமவலோக்கியவா त्वमावलोक्यवा
தாம் அவலோக்ய சஹ.
தாமவலோக்ய சஹ. ஓகே. भगवान् स्वात्ममायायाः कदिं ताम अवलोक्य सः सरस्वतीमुपस्पृश्य वृक्षमूलम् उभाविशत्.
And the upasprisya is the middle of that line. Saraswatim upasprisya.
Okay. भगवान् स्वात्ममायायाः कदिं ताम् अवलोक्य सः सरस्वतीमुपस्पृश्य वृक्षमूलम् उभाविशत्.
Aham chokto bhagavata, prapannaarti harenaha badarim tvam prayahiti, swakulam sanjihirshuna. Aham chokto bhagavata prapannaarti harenaha badarim tvam prayahiti swakulam sanjihirshuna.
अहं चोक्तो भगवता प्रपन्नार्तिहरेणः बदरीं त्वं प्रयाहीति सुकुलं स्वं जिहीर्षुणा. अहं चोक्तो भगवता प्रपन्नार्तिहरेणः बदरीं त्वं प्रयाहीति सुकुलं संजिहीर्षुणा.
Rajesh, quick question. அது வந்து சஞ்சி ஹீர்ஷுனான்னு எனக்கு கொடுத்திருக்கு. Is it different?
Yes, and the im irukliya, so samji hirshuna. Yeah, but what was the different other way of thing?
I think Priyaji ஏதோ டிஃபரெண்டா சொன்ன மாதிரி இந்த நான் பேப்பர்ல தப்பா இருக்கான்னு அதுக்கோசம் தான் கேட்கிறேன்.
Sanji hirshuna only she said, I heard.
ஓகே சரி அப்ப கரெக்ட் நான் தப்பா புரிஞ்சுட்டு இருப்பேன் சார்.
अहं चोक्तो भगवता प्रपन्नार्तिहरेणः पदरीं त्वं प्रयाहीति स्वकुलं संजिहीर्षुणा. अहं चोक्तो भगवता प्रपन्नार्तिहरेणः पदरीं त्वं प्रयाहीति स्वकुलं संजिहीर्षुणा.
Athapi tadabhipretam, janannaham arindama. If you want to break at that, janannaham arindama prishtatonvagamam bhartuhu, pada vishleshanakshamaha. अतापि तदभिप्रेतं जानन्नहमरिन्दम पृष्ठतोऽन्वगमं भर्तुः पादविश्लेषणाक्षमः
अथापि तदभिप्रेतं जानन्नहमरिन्दम पृष्ठतोऽन्वगमं भर्तुः पादविश्लेषणाक्षमः अथापि तदभिप्रेतं जानन्नहमरिन्दम पृष्ठतोऽन्वगमं भर्तुः पादविश्लेषणाक्षमः
अथापि तदभिप्रेतं जाननं नहम् अरिन्दम पृष्ठदोन्वगमं भर्तुः पादविश्लेक्षणाक्षमः.
Until the first line, Janannaham, double n, three n's are coming, right? Janannaham.
Okay. अथापि तदभिप्रेतं जाननम् अहम् अरिन्दम पृष्ठोन्वगमं भर्तुः पादविश्लेक्षणाक्षमः.
I think I realize what you're saying. நீங்க வந்து Janana, you are saying three na, you are saying. The first is a na, second becomes an in.
Janan aham.
Yeah, it is Janan aham, correct.
Okay.
But and the in and a becomes double na there. So Janannaham.
Okay.
You're saying it together, okay? Adraksham ekam asinam. Three words there. Adraksham ekam asinam, comma. Vichinvan daitam patim. Sriniketam saraswatyam, comma. Kritaketam aketanam. If you want to break it, that ma. Adraksham ekam asinam. Vichinvan daitam patim. Sriniketam saraswatyam. Kritaketam aketanam.
अद्राक्षमेकमासीनं विचिन्वन् दयितं पतिं श्रीनिकेतं सरस्वत्यां कृतकेतमकेतनम् अद्राक्षमेकमासीनं विचिन्वन् दयितं पतिं श्रीनिकेतं सरस्वत्यां कृतकेतमकेतनम्
अद्राक्षमेघमासीनं विचिन्वं दयितं पदिं श्रीनिकेतं सरस्वत्यां कृतकेतम् अकेतनम् अद्राक्षमेघमासीनं विचिन्वं दयितं पदिं श्रीनिकेतं सरस्वत्यां कृतकेतम् अकेतनम्
श्यामावदातं बिरजं, comma, प्रशान्तारुणलोचनं धोर्भिश्चतुर्भिर्विदितं, comma, पीतकौशाम्बरेण च. Describing the looks of Krishna. श्यामावदातं विरजं प्रशान्तारुणलोचनं दोर्भिश्चतुर्भिर्विदितं पीतकौशाम्बरेण च.
श्यामावदातं विरजं प्रशान्तारुणलोचनं दोर्भिश्चतुर्भिर्विदितं पीतकौशाम्बरेण च श्यामावदातं विरजं प्रशान्तारुणलोचनं दोर्भिश्चतुर्भिर्विदितं पीतकौशाम्बरेण च
श्यामावदातं विरजं प्रशान्तारुणलोचनं दोर्भिश्चतुर्भिर्विदितं पीतकौशाम्बरेण च श्यामावदातं विरजं प्रशान्तारुणलोचनं दोर्भिश्चतुर्भिर्विदितं पीतकौशाम्बरेण च
वाम ऊरावधिश्रित्य, one word, comma, दक्षिणांग्रि सरोरुहम apashritarvakashvattam. Okay, I'll say it again because you cannot break that word, unfortunately. Apashritarvakashvattam. That ma will break it. Im. Next word starts with the a. Akrisham tyakta pippalam. So he's leaning and sitting back against that tree. Sorry, somebody had a question?
After Ashwatham, is there comma?
No, yeah, after Ashwatham, there's a comma there. Ashwatham, comma, Akrisham, Tyakta Pippalam. Vama Uravadishritya, Dakshinangrisaroruham, Apashritar Bhakashwatam, Akrisham Tyakta Pippalam.
Vama Uravadishritya, दक्षिणाघ्रिसरोरुहम् अपाश्रितार्भकाश्वत्वम् अकृशं त्यक्तपिप्पलम् वाम ऊरावधिश्रित्य दक्षिणाघ्रिसरोरुहम् अपाश्रितार्भकाश्वत्वम् अकृशं त्यक्तपिप्पलम्.
Priya, and just before the comma of the second line, I'm hearing a va sound. It's apashritar bakashvatham.
अपाश्रितार्भकाश्वत्वम्. Okay.
वामवूरावधिष्ठित्य दक्षिणाङ्घ्रिसरोरुकम् अभाश्रितार्भकाश्वत्थम् अकृशं त्यक्तबिप्पलम् वामवूरावधिश्रुत्य दक्षिणाङ्घ्रिसरोरुहम् अभाश्रितार्भकाश्वत्थम् अकृशं त्यक्तबिप्पलम्.
Actually, I forgot to say one thing in this meaning when I was telling. So when he's sitting in that thing, he's leaning against a banyan tree, and then he's sitting with his right foot on top of his left thigh. That's what they're telling here. So his right foot is lying back. So somebody is lying with his back against the tree, and his left foot is there, like a triangle, and then the right foot is on top of that left foot. He's keeping his one foot over the other foot, kind of thing, right? When he's lying down.
Rajeshi, is this when somebody send an arrow to Krishna's?
Yeah.
Is it the same time?
It's at the same spot. It's all going to, he has to first talk to Uddhava and Maitreya and all, then they leave.
Okay, then,
And then it'll happen, yeah.
Okay.
But that's the spot. That is the pose, the same pose that he's talking about, right?
Okay, thank you.
Tasmin Mahabhagavato, Dvaipayana Suhrut Sakha, Lokan Anucharan Siddha, Asasada Yadrichaya. So Yadrichaya means accidentally, Maitreya is coming there. Tasmin Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhrut Sakha, Lokan Anucharan Siddha, Asasada Yadrichaya.
तस्मिन् महाभागवतो द्वैपायन सुहृत्सखा लोकाननुचरन् सिद्ध आससाद यदृच्छया. तस्मिन् महाभागवतो द्वैपायन सुहृत्सखा लोकान् अनुचरन् सिद्ध आससाद यदृच्छया.
तस्मिन् महाभागवतो द्वैपायन सुहृत्सखा लोकान् अनुचरन् सिद्ध आससाद यदृच्छया. तस्मिन् महाभागवतो द्वैपायन सुहृत्सखा लोकान् अनुचरन् सिद्ध आससाद यदृच्छया.
Just like how we saw in last chapter of the first canto when Shukabhrahman came, because he was going to be the narrator of the story, right? For a lot of these incidents, Maitreya is going to be the narrator. So that is embedded within Shukabhrahman telling Parikshit what Maitreya is going to tell Vidura. Right? That's nested inside of that. So now Maitreya is going to be the main storyteller for the next several chapters. So he's arriving at this point. Tasyanuraktasya muner mukundaha, pramoda bhavanata kandharasya ashrinvato mam anuraga hasa, put a plus, samikshaya vishra mayannuvacha. Tasyanuraktasya muner mukundaha pramoda bhavanata kandharasya ashrinvato mam anuragahasa samikshaya vishramayennuvāca.
तस्यानुरक्तस्य मुनिर्मुकुन्दः प्रमोदभावानतकन्धरस्य आशृण्वतो मामनुरागहासः समीक्षया विश्रमयनुवाच. तस्यानुरक्तस्य मुनिर्मुकुन्दः प्रमोदभावानतकन्धरस्य आशृण्वतो मामनुरागहासः समीक्षया विश्रमयन् उवाच.
तस्यानुरक्तस्य
Raktasya. Tasya anuraktasya, but tasya
तस्यानुरक्तस्य मुनेर्मुकुन्द प्रमोदभावनदकन्दरस्य भावानदकन्दरस्य आशृण्वदो मामनुरागहासः समीक्षया विस्रमयन्नुवाच.
First line Mukundah, there is a visarga there, okay? First line.
तस्यानुरक्तस्य मुनेर्मुकुन्दः प्रमोदभावनदकन्दरस्य भावानदकन्दरस्य आशृण्वदो माम् अनुरागहासः समीक्षया विस्रमयन्नुवाच.
Shri Bhagavanuvāca Vedāham Antar Manasīpsitam Te Dadāmi Yattat Dhuravāpamanyaihi Satre Pura Vishwa Srijam Vasunam, telling Uddhava about his backstory. Mat Siddhi Kamena Vaso Tvayeshtaha. Shri Bhagavanuvāca Vedahamantar Manasīpsitam Te Dadami Yattad Duravapamanyaihi Satre Pura Vishwasrijam Vasunam Mat Siddhi Kamena Vaso Tvayeshtaha.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Vedāhamandharmanasīpsitam te dadāmi yattad duravāpamanyaihi satre purā vishvasrijām vasūnām matsiddhi kāmena vasōtvayeshtaha. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Vedāhamandharmanasīpsitam te dadāmi yattad duravāpamanyaihi satre purā vishvasrijām vasūnām Matsiddhi kamena vasotvayeshtaha.
वेदाहं मन्दर्मणिसीप्सितं ते ददामि यद्दत्तुरवाभमन्यैः सत्रे पुरा विश्वसृजां वसूनां मत्सिद्धिकामेन वसोद्वयिष्टः. वेदाहं मन्दर्मनसीप्सितं ते ददामि यद्दत्तुरवाभमन्यैः सत्रे पुरा विश्वसृजां वसूनां मत्सिद्धिकामेन वशोद्वयिष्टः.
Santi, you have that Shri Bhagavanuvacha, right? Before that.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, just want to make sure you have it. Okay, we'll switch. Uma, you can be student, and Vasu, you can be student. 12. Sa esha sadho charamo bhavanam, break at that comma, asaditaste madanugrahoyat, mad anugraho, or you can say it together, madanugrahoyat, yenmam nrilokan rahat utsrijantam, comma, dishtya dadrishwan vishadhanu vritya. Sa esha sadho charamo bhavanam आसादितस्ते मदनुग्रहो यत् यन्मां नृलोकान् रह उत्सृजन्तं दिष्ट्या ददृश्वान् विशधानुवृत्त्या.
Sorry. स एष साधो चरमो भवानाम् आसादितस्ते मदनुग्रहो यत् यन्मां नृलोकान् रह उत्सृजन्तं दिष्ट्या ददृश्वान् विशदानुवृत्त्या. स एष साधो चरमो भवानाम् आसादितस्ते मदनुग्रहो यत् यन्मां नृलोकान् रह उत्सृजन्तं दिष्ट्या ददृश्वान् विशदानुवृत्त्या.
एष साधो चरमो भवानाम् आसादितस्ते मदनुग्रहो यत् यन्मां नृलोकान् रह उत्सृजन्तं दिष्ट्या ददृश्वान् विशदानुवृत्त्या. स एष साधो चरमो भवानाम् आसादितस्ते मदनुग्रहो यत् यन्मां नृलोकान् रह उत्सृजन्तं दिष्ट्या ददृश्वान् विशदानुवृत्त्या.
Here is where Krishna is kind of telling Uddhava that this life of yours is the ultimate favor I'm awarding, giving you, mat anugraho. He says, because beyond best you can get is spending time with Krishna. That is the ultimate favor. He says that's what you got, the ultimate favor, because of all the good deeds you have done, which is to spend time with me. So now, and that's the reason, even in the last minute, Krishna is saying you are getting a chance to meet me is also because of my will only, because I wanted you to come and meet me at this particular point in time, because he had to hear the Bhagavatam from Krishna, right? That was what he was blessed to have. He says, you coming here is also because of my will. Now, he says, at the same time, he says, you'll now go back to Vaikuntham after this. Pura maya proktam ajaya nabhye, padme nishannaya mamadi sarge, jnanam param man mahimavabhasam, yat surayo bhagavatam vadanti. So I said this Bhagavatam to the Ajaya, the one who is never born, never dead, which is Brahma. Although Brahma has a span, he's not technically born like we are all born, right? He just comes out of the Nabi and he goes back. So anyway, so that Ajaya, the one who has come at the beginning, Adi Sarge, at the very beginning, I told him this Bhagavatam. पुरामया प्रोक्तमजायनाभ्ये पद्मे निषन्नाय ममादिसर्गे ज्ञानं परं मन्महिमावभासं यत्सूरयो भागवतं वदन्ति.
पुरा मया प्रोक्तमजायनाभ्ये पद्मे निषण्णाय ममादिसर्गे ज्ञानं परं मन्महिमावभासं यत्सूरयो भागवतं वदन्ति. पुरा मया प्रोक्तमजायनाभ्ये पद्मे निषण्णाय ममादिसर्गे ज्ञानं परं मन्महिमावभासं यत्सूरयो भागवतं वदन्ति.
मया प्रोक्तमजायनाभ्ये पद्मे निषन्नाय ममादिसर्गे ज्ञानं परं मन्महिमावभासं यत्सूरयो भागवतं वदन्ति. पुरा मया प्रोक्तमजायनाभ्ये पद्मे निषन्नाय ममादिसर्गे ज्ञानं परं मन्महिमावभासं यत्सूरयो भागवतं वदन्ति.
इत्यादृतोक्तः परमस्य पुंसः, प्रतीक्षणानुग्रह भाजनोहं स्नेहोत्त रोमा स्खलिताक्षरस्तं, मुञ्चन् शुचः प्राञ्जलिर् आभभाषे. Pranjalir abhavashe. Uddhava is telling Vidura that, imagine, like, it's like Krishna himself is coming and telling me that I was favored, right? He himself is coming and telling me you are going to go to Vaikuntham. He himself is coming and telling me I like you so much that I gave you a chance to spend time with me, and I am now, I made you come in the last minute. So he says, when I heard that, Vidura, like Snehotta Roma, he says, I was like crying, and then my hairs were standing, I was getting horripilation all over my body, and I could not believe the words, right? What I'm hearing from Krishna, that I prostrated and fell down on Krishna's feet when I heard this. So Anjali, I, held my hands. Ityadhrutoktav paramasya pumsah pratikshananugraha bhajanoham snehotta roma skhalitaksharastaṁ munchan chuchah pranjalirabhabhashe.
इत्यादृतोक्तः परमस्य पुंसः प्रतीक्षणानुग्रहभाजनोऽहं स्नेहोत्थरोमास्खलिताक्षरस्तं मुञ्चन् शुचः प्राञ्जलिराबभाषे. इत्यादृतोक्तः परमस्य पुंसः प्रतीक्षणानुग्रहभाजनोऽहं स्नेहोत्थरोमास्खलिताक्षरस्तं मुञ्चन् शुचः प्राञ्जलिराबभाषे.
इत्यादृतोक्तः परमस्य पुंसः प्रतीक्षणानुग्रह भाजनोऽहं स्नेहोत्तरोमा स्खलिताक्षरस्तं मुञ्चन् शुचः प्राञ्जलिर् आभभासे. इत्यादृतोक्तः परमस्य पुंसः प्रतीक्षणानुग्रह भाजनोऽहं तरोमा स्खलिताक्ष.
Snehota is one word. Snehota Roma Skalitakshar.
स्नेहोत्त रोमा स्खलिताक्षरस्तं मुञ्चन् शुचः प्राञ्जलिर् आभभासे.
कोन्वीशते पाद सरोज भाजां सुदुर्लभोर्तेषु चतुष्वपीहः तथापि नाहं प्रवृणोमि भूमन् भवत् पदाम्भोज निषेवनोत्सुकः. Very beautifully Uddhava is saying, one who is falling on the lotus feet of the Lord, how is getting any of the four things, which is dharmam, artham, kamam, moksham, everything is this will, it should not be, it should be very easy, right? One which is very hard to get is so easy, but he says, however, me, I don't want any of these, right? What I need is bhavat padamboja. All I want is to spend time with Krishna. That's all I want. I don't even need the liberation that comes. कोन्वीशते पाद सरोज भाजां सुदुर्लभोर्तेषु चतुष्वपीह तथापि नाहं प्रवृणोमि भूमन् भवत्पदाम्भोज निषेवनोत्सुकः.
कोन्वीशते पादसरोजभाजां सुदुर्लभोऽर्थेषु चतुष्वपीह तथापि नाहं प्रवृणोमि भूमन् भवत्पदाम्भोजनिषेवनोत्सुकः.
One time porum.
कोन्वीशते पादसरोजभाजां सुदुर्लभोर्तेषु चतुष्वपीह तथापि नाहं प्रवृणोमि भूमन् भवत्पदाम्भोजनिषेव नोत्सुकः.
कर्माण्यनीहस्य, one word, भवो भवस्यते, comma, Durgashrayothari, one word, because the S symbol is coming there. So Durgashrayothari bhayat palayanam kalatmano yat pramadayutashrayah, comma, swatman rateh khidyati dir vidamih. Karmanyanihasya bhavo bhavasyate Durgashrayothari bhayat palayanam कालात्मनो यत् प्रमदायुताश्रयः स्वात्मन् रते खिद्यति दीर्विदामिह.
कर्माण्यनीहस्य भवो भवस्यते दुर्गाश्रयोथारि भयात् पलायनं कालात्मनो यत् प्रमदायुताश्रयः स्वात्मन् रतेः खिद्यति धीर्विदामिह.
ராஜேஷ், ஒரு குவிக் கொஸ்டின். எனக்கு அந்த யுதா ஸ்ரமஹான் கொடுத்துருக்கு, ஷயஹான் மாத்திக்கணுமா அது நானு?
யுதாஷ் ஆஸ்ரயः அந்த வேர்டு. So யுதாஸ்ரயः, yeah.
ஷயஹ மாத்திக்கிறேன். ஓகே ஓகே. कर्माण्यनीहस्य भवो भवस्यते दुर्गाश्रयोतारि भयात् पलायनं कालात्मनो यत् प्रमदायुताश्रयः स्वात्मन् रते खिद्यति धीर्विदामिह.
Mantreshu mam va upahooya yat tvam, put a im there, we're going to break that im, comma. Next word starts with the a. Akuntita khanda sadatma bodha prichef prabho mugdha iva pramattaha. That is there, we'll remove it, put a visarga, comma. Tanno mano mohayativa deva. So he's saying, although he just gives a few examples in 16 and 17 about, nobody can truly understand, because sometimes, Krishna, you ran away. Remember that Muchukunda story where he called Ranachod because he ran away when the Kala Yavana came? Not because you are afraid, but you did it. At the same time, he says you spend time with all these women, not because you need to spend time with women, because you're full in yourself. Just like how a lot of times you asked me for my advice, Uddhava is saying to Krishna. I know it was not required, but then you were like, what do you call, humoring me, right? We say, right? You were just asking me so that I feel good about it. You did not need any of that. Mantreshu mam va upahuya yatvam akuntita khanda sadatma bodha pricheh prabho mugda iva pramattah tanno mano mohayati vadeva.
मन्त्रेषु मां वा उपहूय यत्त्वम् अकुण्ठिताखण्डसदात्मबोधः पृच्छेः प्रभो मुग्ध इव प्रमत्तः तन्नो मनो मोहयतीव देव.
मन्त्रेषु मां वा, सारी राजेश சொன்னேல அது
இல்ல.
मन्त्रेषु मां वा उपहूय यत्त्वम् अकुण्ठिता खण्ड सदात्मबोधः पृच्छे प्रभो मुग्ध इवा प्रमत्तः तन्नो मनो मोहयतीव देव
ज्ञानं परं स्वात्मरहः प्रकाशं प्रोवाच कस्मै भगवान् समग्रम् अपि क्षमं नो ग्रहणाय भर्तः. You're going to put a visarga there, comma. Next on that ver, if there is a ir, that will go away. Badanjasa yat brijinam tarema. Jnanam param swatmarahah prakasham provacha kasmai bhagavan samagram apikshamam no grahanaya bhartah vadanjasa yat brijinam tarema.
ज्ञानं परं स्वात्मरहः प्रकाशं प्रोवाच कस्मै भगवान् समग्रम् अपिक्षमं नो ग्रहणाय भर्तः वदाञ्जसा यद्वृजिनं तरेम.
ज्ञानं परं स्वात्मरहः प्रकाशं प्रोवाच कस्मै भगवान् समग्रम् अपिक्षमं नो ग्रहणाय भर्तः वदाञ्जसा यत् वृजिनं तरेम.
So here's where Uddhava is saying, you please tell me that Srimad Bhagavatam which you told Brahma, it's because, and like we explained, discussed earlier, right? It's not because he has to get liberated. He says, even though that is there, he has to keep himself alive, right? Because he knows he's not going to go right now. Uddhava knows that his time has not come because Krishna is telling him to go to Bhadrikashrama, right? Which means he knows he has time left in his life. So which means he still wants to continue to hear good things at that time. So he says, please tell me that. इत्यावेदित हार्दाय मह्यं स भगवान् परः आदिदेशारविन्दाक्ष. It's Adideksha Aravindaksha, 2 words there, but it will come as one. So Adidesharavindaksha, Atmanah Paramam Sthitim. इत्यावेदितहार्दाय मह्यं स भगवान् परः आदिदेशारविन्दाक्ष आत्मनः परमां स्थितिम्.
इत्यावेदितहार्दाय मह्यं स भगवान् परः आदिदेशारविन्दाक्ष आत्मनः परमां स्थितिम्.
यावेदितहार्दाय मह्यं स भगवान् परः आदिदेशारविन्दाक्ष आत्मनः परमां स्थितिम्.
Sorry. स एवं आराधित पाद तीर्थात्. You put the that is there. We want to put a it there, comma. Next word starts with a. Adita tattvatma vibodha margah pranamya padau parivritya devam, comma. Iha gatoham virahatu ratma. So this is a separation point, right? And it's going to come further in 11. But this is where Uddhava is now telling Vidura that at that point, then Krishna told me that, and then he doesn't tell what happens to Krishna. He says, after that, I just circumambulated, I just went around, did a pradakshinam of Krishna, I did my namaskaram, and I left that place. Right? And that now he says, Viraha Turatma. He says, I'm grieving right now because that Krishna is no longer with us. Right? And says, now I'm on my way to that Bhadrikashrama, where he now bumped into him, right? To Vidura right now. So, yeah. Sa evam aradita pada tirtat adita tattvatma vibodha margah pranamya padau parivritya devam ihagatoham virahaturatma.
स एवमाराधितपादतीर्थात् अधीततत्त्वात्मविबोधमार्गः प्रणम्य पादौ परिवृत्य देवम् इहागतोऽहं विरहातुरात्मा.
एवमाराधितपादतीर्थात् अधीततत्त्वात्मविबोधमार्गः प्रणम्य पादौ परिवृत्य देवम् इहागतोऽहं विरहातुरात्मा.
So the first sa achonela.
स एवमाराधितपादतीर्थात् अदीह तत्त्वात्मविबोधमार्गः प्रणम्य पादौ परिवृत्य देवम् इहागतोऽहं विरहातुरात्मा.
So, Rajesh,
The Maitreya Rishi, he left.
It's going to come next in the next few stanzas. He's there right now.
Oh,
He's
okay.
there. Maitreya is there. Vidura is there. And Krishna then he has told that Bhagavatam to both of them.
Okay.
And Uddhava is there right now. He's going to tell what happens to Maitreya in the next few stanzas. But he's saying right now that I've left it. I'm very disappointed and sad. And then I'm on my way to Bhadrikashrama right now.
Thank you.
Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha. Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Govinda Govinda Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Kahena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.